Hello grade 9 students. Welcome to another virtual class. I am Miss Madhu Vadke. We are in the last section of chapter 3, Coordinate Geometry. In last video class, we learned how to plot points on a Cartesian plane when its coordinates are given. In today's video lesson, we will use this knowledge and plot the points given in questions of exercise 3.3. Question number 1. In which quadrant or on which axis do each of the points that are given here lie? So without plotting, let's first find out in which quadrant these points are going to lie. I will draw the axis so that it is easier to understand in which quadrant these points will lie. OX is the positive x-axis, OY is the positive y-axis, OX dash is the negative x-axis, and OY dash is the negative y-axis. So look at the coordinates. X coordinate is negative and y coordinate is positive. So we will need negative x-axis and positive y-axis. So this means this point lies in the second quadrant. Look at the coordinates of the second point. The x coordinate is positive and the y coordinate is negative. So we will need a positive x-axis and a negative y-axis. So a positive x-axis and a negative y-axis makes fourth quadrant. The third point is -1 and 0. So we have x coordinate negative and y coordinate is 0. So when the y coordinate is 0, this point will lie on the x-axis, not in a quadrant. Remember, if any of the coordinates is 0, that point lies on the axis. If the y coordinate is 0, then it lies on the x-axis. So this point lies on the x-axis. The fourth point has both coordinates positive. So this point will lie in the first quadrant. The fifth point has both x and y negative. That means we need negative x-axis and negative y-axis, which makes the third quadrant. So this point will lie in the third quadrant. Now we can verify by locating these points on the Cartesian plane. So let's mark these numbers. We can plot all these points on the same page. So how many points should I mark on the positive x-axis and the negative x-axis? So we have to look at the x coordinate. The largest positive number is 3 and the least number is -3. So your points on the x-axis will range from -3 to +3. Then we will look at the y coordinates. So the largest number is 4 and the least number is -5. So your numbers on the y-axis should range from 4 to -5. To plot the first point, you will move from the origin -2 units along the negative x-axis, and from there you will move 4 units along the positive x-axis. So this point will be A. Let's mark these points as A, B, C, D and E. The second point is 3, -1. So you will move from the origin 3 units along the positive x-axis, and then from there you will move along the negative y-axis by 1 unit. So this point will be B. Third point, -1, 0 is on the x-axis, the x coordinate is -1. So from the origin you will move towards the negative x-axis by 1 unit, and you don't move along the y-axis as it is 0. So this point here will be C. Fourth point has coordinates 1, 2. So from origin we will move 1 unit along the positive x-axis and 2 units along the positive y-axis. So we reach here, and this point is D. The fifth point has coordinates -3, -5. So you start from the origin, move 3 units along the negative x-axis, and from there you will move 5 units along the negative y-axis, and you reach over here. So this point is E. So we can see that all these points lie according to the quadrants and axes that we have mentioned over here. Question number 2. Plot the points x, y given in the following table on the plane, choosing suitable units of distance on the axis. So we have 5 points given in the table. Notice that all the coordinates are integers except for this point. The y coordinate of this point is a decimal. So we need to choose a scale so that all points can be shown accurately. Before drawing the two axes, let's decide on the range of numbers that we are going to put on them. If you look at the x coordinates, the numbers range from -2 to 3. And looking at the y coordinate, we can see that the numbers range from 8 to -1. Now I have drawn these two axes in such a way that there is more place on the positive y-axis. Why? Because y coordinate ranges from 8 to -1. So we will have more positive numbers on the y-axis. Let's choose a scale 1 centimeter equal to 0.5. So 2 centimeters on the graph will be 1. For the x-axis also we will choose the same scale. Let's label these points as A, B, C, D, E. So let's start with the first point A. Its x coordinate is -2 and y coordinate is 8. So from the origin we will move 2 units along the negative x-axis and 8 units along the positive y-axis, and we reach here. So this point will be A. Point B has x coordinate -1 and y coordinate 7. So from the origin we will move 1 unit along the negative x-axis and 7 units along the positive y-axis, and we reach here. The third point C has its x coordinate 0. So this point will lie on the y-axis. So from the origin you do not move on the x-axis at all, and from there you will move -1.25 units on the negative y-axis. Now this length is 1. The distance between -1 and -2 is also 1 unit. So if you divide it into 4 parts, each part will be 0.25 unit. So this point is 1.5 and this will be 1.25. So this point will be C. Point D has x coordinate 1 and y coordinate 3. So you will move from the origin 1 unit along the positive x-axis and 3 units along the positive y-axis. So we reach here. So this point is D 1, 3. Likewise, point E has x coordinate 3 and y coordinate -1. So from the origin, you will move 3 units along the positive x-axis and 1 unit along the negative y-axis. So we reach here. This point is E. With completion of this exercise, we have come to the end of this chapter. You will be able to relate plotting of points done in this chapter with plotting of graphs that you have done in physics chapter motion, where you have plotted distance time graph and velocity time graph by taking time on the x-axis and taking displacement or velocity on the y-axis. You may have observed that plotting of points in both the chapters is exactly same. I hope with this chapter the concepts are clear and reinforced. With this, we come to the end of this video lesson. See you in the next class. Until then, goodbye.